You're on the air with Florenza, your podcast destination for authentic conversations with a twist. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and join me on this unique literary journey. Cheers! Get ready to dive into a Nordic inspired world of magic, mayhem, and forbidden love. USA Today bestselling author and TikTok sensation LJ Andrews joins me to talk about her newest book, Broken Souls and Bones, where two powerful souls must restore a divided kingdom or burn it down. Please put your hands together and welcome LJ to the show. Thank you so much, LJ, for joining me on this episode of On the Air with Florenza, where we are going to talk about your newest book, Broken Souls and Bones. Before we
Thank you
do,
for having me.
oh, yeah, you are so welcome. We were chatting offline about how amazed I am with the reception and the reviews that you are getting. Holy cow. I mean,
It's really
man,
awesome. Yeah. It makes you feel good.
listen, I didn't even write it and it makes me feel good. I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Before we dive into our true or false questions and then some I've got some great questions for you. So I hope you're ready. I don't know if
Yes.
you had a chance to look at some of my other interviews. I've been known to kind of get out there, but
Yes. We love it though.
so we're going to toast to a fantastic show and you have
Zevia.
Zevia. Now what is
Yeah.
that? I've never seen that.
So I am a Coke Zero fan, but it doesn't sit well with me anymore. So I have to get like the healthy version of soda. And
Okay.
it's made with plant-based stuff. So it's not soda, but we'll
Okay.
pretend it is.
Nice. Well, I've got a little red something or another. I
All
don't
right.
know, but there you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is actually good. It's something that my neighbor brought over. My husband
Oh,
helped her, and I forget the name of it, but the meaning of the wine. Mm. So I had to look it up because it didn't sit well with me. The name of it, and it means unrequited love. It means to long
oh.
for someone that is without of reach. Mm.
Oh,
Should
I
I
like
read?
that. There's a story in there.
Should I read anything into that, LJ? The fact that she gave that bottle of wine to my husband, you think I should be concerned? Can you write,
I mean, you might want to keep your eyes out.
make her a character in your book and just have at it for me, okay?
Yeah.
So tell us without any spoilers, just what the reader is to expect when they read Broken Souls and Bones.
So I designed the book to be kind of an exploration of we all have like this darkness in us, right? And like there's lines that maybe we would cross for those that we love. And so it's kind of about finding that, embracing that, and loving people for all their sharp edges, even if they're, we're all imperfect. So kind of finding this love that accepts you for the darker pieces and the wonderful pieces too. So I hope they come away with that passion and maybe some gruesome moments with the magic system and hopefully a lot of fun because there's definitely some comedic characters in here and hopefully they just have a good time.
Were there aspects of the book that when it was all said and done that was left on the floor that you actually mourned? Like you mourned the pieces that didn't make it to the final product?
This one was different. It was my first traditionally published book. So I got a new type of editing system that I hadn't done as an independent author. And so I actually added stuff to this
Okay.
book. It was shorter at first, and then the world kind of imploded when my editor at the publisher just asked one question. I don't remember what the question was. So I don't know if I even like cut things. I actually like expanded things
Okay.
on this book.
What was that process like for you going from traditional or independently published, having complete say so on everything, and then stepping to this space of being a trad? And how differently would the book have come out had you remained in the independent space?
So it's hard for me to say the last part exactly. Like I kind of was very nervous at the beginning of the editing process because I didn't know what to expect. And I
Right.
didn't know what I've learned. I'll just say that I'll preface this. I have learned that publishers want you to ask questions, as do other authors. Like ask questions. I was very closed mouth at first because I didn't know what to do. And so I was really nervous. But then as we got through the editing process, I started turning into who I am as an author. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write it
Yeah.
as I want to do it. So I almost feel if I would have independently published it, it would have been a very similar story,
Okay.
100%. Because eventually I just did it and my editor was all for it. Like that's what the misconception I had was that they wouldn't want me to be like independent in
Hmm.
my head. And they're just championing you as an author as well. Because you're partners. That's what I had to get used to was
Yeah.
sometimes we think we're giving up
Yeah.
things, but they've told me repeatedly, like, we are partners in this. You already have an audience, like, let's do this, what you know your readers better. So, um, yeah, it was different though. I was very passive at first because I just didn't know, but now I have learned to hopefully speak out and ask a bunch of questions just so I'm aware. I want to be
Hmm.
aware instead of being like, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So,
How much of what you've learned walking through the process of being a traditionally published author are you able to take back into your independent space?
um, they are different in a lot of ways, like the distribution and things like that. As an independent, as successful as my independent books are, and were like, I still struggle to get into bookstores, so that's
Yeah.
been different. But definitely like the release stuff and like platforms you can use and things like
Yeah.
that. Like I didn't do a lot of podcasts like this with my independent stuff because I just didn't know
Yeah.
that we do this stuff.
Yeah.
So this has been really fun to learn these other avenues to chat about your books and to promote them and things like that. Timetables are obviously very different with
Yes.
independent. We're fast, 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 fast. And it's been interesting to see the shift from where, as an indie, I'm very focused on my ebooks, where traditional is very focused, in my opinion, on like they want the ebooks to do well too, but it's very physical
Yes.
books, hardbacks, trade backs, and so paperbacks and stuff like that. So it's interesting that way.
Nice. I love that because I am both independently published
You're
with my
hybrid too.
imprint, yes, and traditionally published. And I agree in the beginning, you're just terrified because you don't know what to say or that fear of, am I going to screw up? Am I going to make them, hate the fact that they signed
Am
me
I
on
gonna?
and be like, come back
Yeah,
over to the struggle bus, boo. So,
yeah. It's been a learning process, and I think we have to have confidence when we're independent authors, especially coming into it, that we know our readership and they want that aspect of us, you know?
yeah,
And so I had to learn that
yeah.
to have some
Well,
confidence.
well, congratulations on that. Now, diving into your characters.
Okay.
If Lyra's silver-scarred eyes could speak, what would they confess that she herself cannot?
That she is probably braver than she thinks she is, and that she's stronger than she thinks she is. She's not weak, but she's been taught to fear her magic her whole life. So she's very timid, as we just talked about.
Yes,
We have to learn how to be bold sometimes, and that's what Lyra's journey is definitely that. And so I think her scars would tell her from the beginning that you're tougher than you think you are. You don't need to be afraid. You're in control. But so
nice. I like that. And I love the way that it tied into our previous
yeah.
um, discussion. Now, Rourke, who never speaks aloud,
Mhm.
but his silence is deafening. What was the hardest part about writing such a commanding, silent character?
Well, he's my first main character who is non-speaking, and I really wanted that aura about him. And so it was just making sure that his body language was hopefully in place to command, because he's a literal commander of like warriors and he doesn't speak with verbally. So I really wanted his whole aura or his body language or his facial expressions or his proximity to people to be very intimidating and frightening. So he proves himself a lot with weapons. He's very good with his swords and axes and things like that. And so people are intimidated that way. But I love like how I tried to position him. Even if he's silently standing there, he's very intimidating to people.
Yeah.
So they give him a wide berth a little bit. So that was probably the most challenging part was making sure his positioning was hopefully where it needed to be.
Oh yeah, the reviews again. You're going to hear me say the word reviews a lot because listen to the listeners.
Oh,
Go and just I felt like the reviews in and of itself was another like aspect of the book. Like the reviews were another book, right?
oh, awesome.
For this. Your magic system intertwines blood, bones, and soul. What real world myth or lore inspired this deadly trifecta?
So Lyra is the one that kind of controls all three of those. That's why she's kind of afraid of it, and because it's very coveted and kind of a lot of wars have been started over it. So her magic specifically was inspired by the Norse berserker myths. Have you ever, where they're like these
No.
really strong, they're berserkers. It's like how we got the saying like I'm gonna go berserk.
Yes.
And so they used to be in the Norse myths these almost undefeatable warriors. They were because they were feral, they were wild, they were fierce and huge usually. So I thought of this idea. I was like, I wonder if I could create a magic system that would create these warriors and like explain why they are this way. So that's how hers came to be. And so that's where it was inspired. And then the other ones are just from more culture. Like I really started digging. I broke apart her magic to the three main veins of magic. And I wanted to do a very mythological style magic system that hopefully feels really immersive to readers and kind of creepy, maybe a little dark and hands on. So it's a little gross. Like
Uh-huh.
I had one reader say, this is grotesque. And I was like, thank you.
Perfect.
Yes. So I kind of like that aspect of creating this magic system that's really hands on. It has a lot of consequences if you use it. So you want to be careful how you use it. Anyway, so, but originally it came from the berserker legends of the Norse myths. So.
Nice. So there's a beautiful balance of banter and heartbreak in this book. Do you write to music? And if so, what songs were on repeat while building Rourke and Lyra's tension? Because it was tense.
Yeah, I definitely write to music. And interestingly enough, I've been writing to almost like lyrical or like no lyrics in the music. So it's like these tense, dark, almost cinematic sounds that are maybe Norse based. So there's one creator on YouTube who does like these just cinematic songs, and his name's like Rock Narden, I think. I love his songs. He has a whole like Valhalla Viking track, and so I listen to him a lot. But then I also listen to this one song, and I think it's from League of Legends, and it's called Bite Marks, and it's oh, I loved it so much because it's like this almost feminine rage, but also like I like it when you come closer and you
Uh,
fight me. Oh, I listen to it all the time. So
nice.
yeah.
Now, when your family hears the music playing, do they know, okay, she's
Yeah.
in there at it?
Yeah. My kids do not think I'm cool. Like because they listen to like such different music and I'm like, I gotta get my Viking metal music on out here. So and they don't think I'm cool.
Now, we were talking earlier in terms of like genetically, how far back in your bloodline do you actually connect with the Viking world or Scandinavian or any of those aspects?
So that's where my family and my husband's family actually, well, half. So like my mom's side immigrated from. So I'm third generation, I guess. So my grandparents immigrated from Sweden, and same with my husband's. They came from Denmark, and so pretty far back, like we still have cousins over in Sweden that my mom has gone over to me and like met like all of her immediate cousins. So it's really fun. So yeah, we always my grandpa's full Swede, and just grew up hearing all the stories. We still sing like happy birthday in Swedish
Uh-huh.
at
Oh,
our family
nice.
parties. So yeah, I we might sound awful like with all of our American accents, but we try our best.
So if one of your ancient relative ancestors, right, were to manifest today and read what you're writing, what do you think they would think of it?
I hope it would sound Oh, I hope it would sound like their beliefs, the Norse pagan culture and things like that. I hope it, because it's very storytellers. They loved like skalds
Yeah.
that would tell stories, and I don't know. I hope they would love it and be like,
Nice.
yeah, that tracks. That's what I hope.
Yes, she's our wildest
Yeah,
dream come
she's the
true.
wild one. I love it. So
Were
I
you
hope.
always the wild one as a child, or were you more of the
No,
rule
I've always
keeper?
been the reader. I was more outgoing as a kid. Now I'm a little bit more introverted as an adult, but I was always the reader and the imaginative, like, let's tell stories. So I've been writing cute little, I found like a journal when I was like in first or second grade, and it's just filled with like little stories. I would write my daydreams of like
Oh,
what I wanted to happen in my life, and I
uh-huh.
would write it into a story form. So I've always been that person. Yeah.
Oh, if you could describe the soul of your book using three ingredients, what would they be?
Hmm. Let's see, shadows, um, steel because of the weapons, and hopefully romance,
Oh,
love.
romance.
So yes.
If Rourke and Lyra were thrown into the world of your Everseas series, what role would they play aboard the ships?
Oh, geez. So, like I said, Eric Bloodsinger is the Ever King. Rourke would want to be in charge, and he'd be like, "You can't come close to my girl." And Eric would say, "You can't come close to my girl." So they would probably go to war. Lyra and Livia, I like L name, it sounds like,
Uh-huh.
they'd become best friends and they would sit back drinking tea or whatever, watching these guys try to kill each other. I think Lyra would be the storyteller or something like that on the ship. And yeah, Rourke would try to be the captain, but Eric would be like, "No, I'm going to kill you." So,
Nice. That
yeah,
strong energy coming
yes.
together. How does sign language representation shape or evolve the story, and what went into making it feel authentic and powerful?
So the sign language, originally Rourke was going to talk. He was going to have a speech impediment, but as I was writing him, he just told me to write him correctly and that he does not speak. So the sign language really became a huge aspect of their relationship as well because Rourke gets close to speak to her. He doesn't touch people a lot, but he touches her and like he will sign against her palms or he'll sign against her skin. And so that created their tension a little bit because he has to get into forced, like close proximity and things like that. And it shaped him as a person because he kind of has this underlying, I need to prove myself. Because first of all, he's from an enemy clan. He was kind of adopted into their clan. And so he's got that against him. And plus, he wanted to rise in the ranks without being the demanding, shouting commander. And he had to do it silently. So he proves himself hardcore with his skill in battle and things like that. So it kind of really shaped him as a person. And again, it's part of his backstory. It's kind of sad. So it definitely plays a part in his life. So and then to research that, I have my brother-in-law is an audiologist, and so he works with the signing community a lot. And I also have speech therapists that I spoke with, just hopefully to represent the community sensitively and to do it justice and to show that it's an amazing community. And I wrote my own sign language. I did not try to mimic ASL or ESL or
Uh-huh.
anything like that because that I don't want to do that an injustice. So um, yeah, that's kind of what went behind it. Talking to some professionals and learning as best I could about the community. So,
When you're writing this series, because it is so different from your Everseas
mhm.
series, were your characters from Everseas jealous? Like, whoa, whoa, wait. How are you listening to some other characters speak to you? What are you over there creating? That is not our book.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm still writing the Everseas. So I'm working on book 4 now. And so I had to put them aside for a second to finish Broken Souls and Bones. And yeah, they didn't like that. I don't know how readers felt. I think they're happy now that it's out, but for the pause for a bit, I think they were like, oh, oh. But yeah, they're grumpy. So
Let's talk villains. Without spoiling too much, was there a moment where you almost softened one of your antagonists?
I changed one of my antagonists. Actually, I can say this, I because it's now out, but Prince Thane, who is Rourke's bestie, was actually supposed to be a bad guy. And then as I was writing him, I was like, no, you're just the friend that everyone deserves to have. So it actually added more brutality to the villains as they went because there was a group. And then as the end kind of came into, they kind of took up what Thane was supposed to do. And so they got more
Ooh.
brutal, probably.
This story clearly wrecks people, and that like is not an understatement. They were wrecked. That was a word that was used in a lot of the reviews, in the best way, of course.
Good.
Was there a scene that wrecked you while writing it?
Probably like a lot of the people. I think what the feedback I've been getting is the last 15% or so takes you for a ride.
Yeah.
And it does. It's fun to see that reaction. But I think the ending, that scene, the real ending scene was a lot to write and it but it needed all this emotion in it. So that one was really hard and awesome to write. And at the end it was almost like draining
Yeah.
because you're like you've been in that like heightened sense for like a day or two, writing it. So
What's
that
your
end.
go-to self-care space thing that you do to step away from that world, right? What do you do for you?
I love to be outside hiking or walking. I live in the mountains, so I love to go out there and just refresh. And then, of course, I like to like read books. So if I've been in these heightened dark places, I'll usually go to contemporary romance that's like rom-coms or things like that. And I just, you just love a good feel-good story. So I'll do that to kind of pull out of it. Yeah, or I'll binge watch like The Office or something like that, I
Uh-huh.
guess, where you just laugh the whole time.
What type of person are you while you're writing? Like, are you the serious sign on the door, do not enter, or are you kind of still engaging with your family and whatnot?
Oh, I wish I could do. I get very distracted. So I actually got my first office. That's where I'm at, and we built it outside. So I
Yeah.
actually leave my house. And that's helped a lot because if I hear something, I'll just be out of it forever. So I'm not like strict. Like if you come in, if you need me, I will stop what I'm doing. But yeah, I do need to be alone. I need headphones on. I need focus. And if I don't have it, then I just have to go back into like the system. It takes me like 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
have a friend who she just can talk to anyone and then just go right back into it. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I can I tend to wake up early. So before everyone's sleeping. So I get a good chunk of time in because I'm an early riser. So
Nice. What's next for you? I know that you're still on the heels of the success of Broken Bones and Broken Souls and Bones, but what's next for you?
So I'm working on, like I said, book 4 in the Everseas. That will be a 6-book series. So I am just finishing that up and getting that ready to go into editing because it was picked up by the same publisher. So we're doing an independent series now going traditional. So we're gonna work on that. I finished book 2 in Broken Souls and Bones. That's already at the editor. So yeah, that's where we're at now. And I'm outlining and plotting my next independently published series that I hope will come out in the next year or two. So we'll see.
Nice. Where are the listeners able to engage with you and learn more about all things LJ?
Well, I'm really active on social media on my Instagram, but especially in my Wicked Darlings group on Facebook. I know there's Discords with my readers. I am not part of those because I don't understand Discord, but that's the millennial in me, I guess, coming out. And so LJ's Wicked Darlings is my personal group where I'm really involved in, or Instagram or TikTok. I'm on there as well. So
Nice. What's a question that you have never been asked but secretly wish someone would ask you?
mm, I gotta think for a second. I don't know if I've I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been asked, like, do I act, because I write morally gray men. Like, I don't know if people have actually asked, like, do I love that in real life? And I do. I love the villains. I've always favored like villains. And I don't know what that says about me. But like the Phantom of the Opera, he should have won. Darkling should have won. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like these like so
Ooh, so
I
you
don't know
like
what
the
that says
bad
about me.
boys.
Yeah.
Now, did you marry a bad boy?
No, he's like the most cinnamon roll golden retriever guy ever.
But in your dreams, he's bad.
I know. I'm like, but you would kill people for me if I was in danger, right? So,
Oh my gosh. Speaking of kill people for me, I was watching very rarely am I on TikTok, but this particular time it was a female and she had three male Barbie dolls, the Ken dolls.
yeah.
And so she's like, help me, help me. So she sits them on her car and she calls her husband and she says, babe, there are three dudes on a car and they won't get off. Can you come help me? And so her husband comes barreling out of the side door, right
Yeah.
where she was. And he comes around a corner like he is getting ready to take out an entire gang. And he comes in front of her car and sees the little Ken dolls sitting in front of the
Oh
car
my gosh.
and
She's
dies
like, come
laughing.
on. That's the best. Well, now she knows what he would do.
I think my husband would say, you packed, you handle your own
Yeah.
business. So we've come to the part of our show where I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions. This is our little
Okay.
last call. So take a sip.
Okay.
Okie dokie. All right. And just whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
Enemies to lovers or friends to lovers?
Enemies to lovers.
Yes. Ink on parchment or messages on skin?
Ooh. I'm gonna do parchment. I use parchment a lot.
Burn the kingdom or restore it?
Oh, burn it.
Burn it. Are you a Gemini? Rourke's glare or Lyra's bite?
Both in the same time in the same room.
Ooh,
Together,
nice.
working together. Love it.
Nice. Found family or fated mates?
Ooh, found family.
Write a death scene or a steamy one?
Steamy.
With a death scene.
Yeah, after someone's dying as they're doing it.
Or kill them and then do the
Yeah.
steamy.
Yeah.
You're kidnapped. Do you want Rourke or Prince Thane to rescue you?
Rourke for sure, but Prince Thane will be outside with the getaway car.
Good answer.
Yeah.
And then describe your book using one made up word.
Ooh, oh, I can't make it up. Deliciousify.
Ooh, delicious defy. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, LJ. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk to you.
And this wraps up another episode of On the Air with Florenza. You may follow me on all social media platforms under Florenza Lee or via my website at florenza.org. Until next time, cheers.